The world of GP is about to witness a murder, the death of a legacy, and the violent birth of a monster. For decades, the YZR M1 was celebrated as the ultimate scalpel of the racing world, a machine defined by its poetic agility and surgical precision through the most technical sectors of the track. However, this beauty came with a fatal flaw that haunted every rider who dared to push its limits: a chronic, soul-crushing deficit in top-end power on the straightaways. While rivals like in KTM evolved into fire-breathing monsters that dominated the speed traps, remained stubbornly loyal to its 4 architecture, often leaving its pilots defenseless during high-speed duels. The frustration within the garage reached a breaking point as the mechanical gap widened, turning every race into a desperate defensive battle. Now, in an act of engineering desperation and bold ambition, has finally decided to kill its darling. The legendary 4 era is being systematically dismantled to make way for a radical new heart, marking the most significant technical pivot in the company's long racing history. The L, who restored its glory with a world championship title, has spent the last few seasons trapped in a psychological and mechanical nightmare. His unparalleled talent allowed him to dance the M1 through corners at impossible speeds, but that brilliance was repeatedly neutralized the moment the wheels straightened out. Watching his hard-earned leads evaporate on the main straights became a recurring tragedy for the Frenchman and his global. His vocal demands for more horsepower were not merely requests, they were the desperate pleas of a champion who knew his window of opportunity was closing. He often found himself forced to override the bike, taking extreme risks in braking zones just to compensate for the engine's inherent weakness. This relentless pressure pushed both man and machine to the brink of collapse, creating a sense of urgency that forced upper management to finally acknowledge that their traditional philosophy was no longer enough to survive. In a secret facility shrouded in corporate silence has been forging a weapon designed for total mechanical redemption, the V4 engine prototype. This is not a mere evolution, it is a violent departure from everything the blue team has stood for in the modern era. By adopting the V4 configuration, is directly challenging the technical blueprint that has made the undisputed king of the current GP landscape. This new engine is engineered to deliver a brutal, uncompromising surge of torque and top-end velocity that the M1 has never experienced before. The transition is aimed squarely at erasing the straight-line shame that has plagued the brand for years. Preliminary data suggests a power delivery that is both smoother and more explosive, promising to give riders the teeth they need to fight back. This revolution represents a total surrender of old traditions in exchange for the raw, unadulterated speed required to conquer the 2026 season and beyond. A powerful engine is useless if the front wheel refuses to stay on the ground, and knows that the V4's increased violence requires a radical rethink of aerodynamic physics. The 2026 project isn't just about internal combustion. It's a comprehensive aerodynamic overhaul designed to tame the beast within. Engineers are obsessively sculpting new winglet configurations and ground effect fairings to generate massive downforce without sacrificing the M1's signature agility. The goal is to eliminate the dreaded wheelie effect that robs acceleration and forces electronic interventions to cut power. This invisible hand of aerodynamics will be crucial in ensuring that every ounce of the V4's new horsepower is translated into forward motion. By seeking a perfect equilibrium between drag reduction and high-speed stability, is attempting to create a machine that doesn't just cut through the air, but weaponizes it, providing the riders with a stable platform to deploy the most aggressive maneuvers ever seen. Just as the mechanical revolution reached its peak, a human lightning bolt struck the GP paddock, the signing of the world icon, known for his gravity-defying and aggressive late-braking style, represents the final piece of championship puzzle. While many skeptics questioned if a rider from a production-based series could handle the alien complexities of a GP prototype, silenced the doubters within minutes of hitting the tarmac. His arrival has injected a surge of raw, electric energy into a team that was beginning to feel the weight of its own struggles. Doesn't just ride a motorcycle, he wrestles it into submission, bringing a fearless, swashbuckling mentality that perfectly complements the violent nature of the new V4 engine. He is not here to learn the ropes or play the role of a secondary rider. He is here to disrupt the established hierarchy and prove that his unique talent is the ultimate catalyst for long-awaited comeback. When the lights went green at the testing sessions, the atmosphere was thick with tension, but turned that tension into pure awe. Riding the V4 prototype for the first time, he didn't just meet expectations, he shattered them with a performance that sent shockwaves through the entire pit lane. The telemetry told a story that many found hard to believe, a newcomer setting competitive, scorching times that rivaled the series' veterans. Most impressively, proved that he could extract record-breaking speed from the on-the-straight track, a feat that had seemed impossible for years. The synergy between his aggressive inputs and the V4's raw power was immediate and terrifyingly efficient. This wasn't just a lucky lap, it was a statement of intent. The straight-line curse was officially broken as the Turkish rider clocked speeds that left even the most seasoned engineers staring at their monitors in disbelief, signaling the end of his era of vulnerability. The most telling reaction to his explosive debut didn't come from the fans or the media, but from within his own garage. A man who has lived and breathed the M1's limitations was visibly stunned by the raw, uncompromising pace demonstrated by his new teammate. Seeing the V4 prototype achieve the speeds he had spent years begging for in the hands of a GP rookie was a moment of profound realization for the former champion. His public admission of astonishment was a rare moment of vulnerability and respect, acknowledging that the bike's ceiling had finally been raised. While the internal rivalry is inevitable, the presence of has reignited a fire within. The two riders now form the most formidable duo in the paddock. One, a surgical master of flow, and the other, a fearless Viking of speed. Together, they are forcing the entire organization to accelerate their development, knowing that the tools for victory are finally within their collective grasp. Despite the mounting hype and the record-breaking test times, remains remarkably grounded, adhering to a philosophy of enjoyment over expectation for his debut 2026 season. He has publicly stated that his primary goal is to adapt to the unique stresses of GP without the crushing weight of rigid performance targets. This psychological approach is of pressure management, allowing him to explore the limits of the V4 prototype with a sense of freedom that most riders lack. By focusing on the joy of the ride, he is able to maintain the creative, improvisational style that made him a legend in. However, beneath this relaxed exterior lies the heart of a cold-blooded competitor. He understands that 2026 is merely the foundation for something much larger, a transitional period designed to build the muscle memory and technical understanding required to eventually dismantle the world's best riders on their own turf, regardless of the machinery they are riding. While the 2026 season marks the beginning of the V4 era, and are already looking toward 2027, the year the GP universe will be turned upside down. The impending technical upheaval is a massive reset button that plays perfectly into his hands. With engine capacities dropping to 850 and the total elimination of complex starting aids, the advantage currently held by the dominant manufacturers will be effectively neutralized. Perhaps most crucially, the switch from Michelin to tires, a brand knows better than anyone on the planet, could be the deciding factor in the championship. These changes are designed to strip away the technological crutches and return the focus to pure rider skill and throttle control. For starting from a blank slate with their V4 architecture at the exact moment, the rules change is a strategic, positioning them to seize the throne just as their rivals are forced to redesign their own championship-winning formulas. The narrative surrounding has shifted from a story of decline to a declaration of war. The combination of the V4 engine's brute force and its fearless world-class talent has sent a clear message to the likes of KTM, and the sleeping giant has finally woken up. This video is more than a summary, it is a chronicle of a revolution in progress. While remains the cautious veteran wary of the challenges ahead, the momentum building within the team is undeniable. Is no longer content with being the agile underdog, they are building a powerhouse capable of total domination. With a clear roadmap leading to the 2027 regulation shift and a rider who isn't afraid to challenge legends like Marc, the blue manufacturer is signaling its return to the summit of motorcycle racing. The era of making excuses for lack of speed is over. The era of the V4 has begun, and the world of GP will never be the same again.